Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of HSV International. I'm Lennart and with me, like usual, Philip. Hi, Philip.
Hi Lennart, how are you after this weekend?
Well, as you can imagine, not very well, but only because of the game. Just to make that clear. How about you?
Same here. I think this game was like a kick in the butt for all of us HSV fans who really hoped that this game would at least bring 1 point back to Hamburg. Yeah, but in the end, unfortunately not.
No, not really. But before we head into the game and into our episode, we have two announcements for this episode. The first one is very sad. We have no question of the week today, Philip. Didn't get one.
Oh,
I can understand that after this weekend that no one was well, looking forward to yeah formulate a question for us. And I believe every HSV supporter was quite disappointed, um, at least with the result. But the second announcement, this one we already mentioned last week. We have a guest today. Ragavan is with us, a friend of us. Hi, Ragavan.
Hi, Lennart. Hi, Philip. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to be a guest in this episode.
yes, nice to have you here. And there is one thing we did not mention about you, but we did so last episode.
Yeah.
So enlighten us.
Why are you here with us?
Yeah. So the reason why I am a guest in this episode is that I am a Werder Bremen fan.
Silence.
Yeah,
Unbelievable silence.
it's a huge shock
Yes.
every time I hear it.
Yeah. No, but it's nevertheless very nice to have you here, Rex. You're a good friend. And another thing, you're our first international guest. Because where are you currently? Where are you from? I mean, you can tell a bit about yourself. You can introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yeah, I mean the background story is the same as with Andrew last week. So Philip and I know each other from school since we were 10 years old, basically. But then now I moved to Sweden, to Stockholm to be precise, to follow my studies here. So yeah, I am I am an international guest, but in that sense, but not really.
Before Philip and I will be saying something about the match, how did you watch this, Ragavan?
I was planning to watch it in a sports bar with some other people, but then I was invited to a birthday barbecue of a good friend, so I couldn't I couldn't watch it in the sports bar in the end. So I watched it on my phone at the barbecue, of course. But still, even though I watched it on my phone outdoors, I was still paying close attention to the actions on the field. So I
I have.
didn't miss anything.
So you saw the full 90 minutes?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So your friends did not have much from you during these 90 minutes.
During these 90 minutes, I was a bit, yeah, and not part of the social interactions. But yeah, I mean, they know how crazy I am about Werder Bremen or about football in general. So yeah, they already expected it and knew what was coming.
Good for you that you saw the 90 minutes. I'm curious about your impressions of the game. Maybe first of all, we could also share what we saw in Bremen, because I think this away game in Bremen was kind of special as it was the first time for me ever that in Bremen we were not directly put into buses from the main station once we arrived there. Right, Leonard?
Yeah, for me it was the second time. I believe 16 years ago, I um, I went to a away game in Bremen alone, and therefore I was not identified directly as a HSV supporter, as far as I remember, and therefore I was allowed to yeah walk through the city to the stadium. But yeah, well, let's say it was a nice experience this time. Just that we could walked to the stadium, very peaceful at that point. Everything was really good. No problems at all. So far we had a great away tour at that point.
It was surprisingly relaxing. And when we passed a kebab store, I then saw something called a rollo. Rex, do you know what a rollo is?
Of course, I know what a rollo is. I've been to Bremen many times, of course, and every time I'm there, I always eat a rollo.
Really? You
Yeah.
never told about it, about the rollo.
Really, I thought it was common knowledge, to be honest, but yeah,
Oh.
rollo is very special to Bremen, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
It sounded like kind of a religion, to be honest. So at least, from the story we got, it seemed very, very important to get a model if you're in Bremen.
Did you get it at the famous store where there was a huge line?
I believe it was a famous store, but the line was not that huge. So we were told it was the best one, but I believe 6 persons were in front of us, something around 6, 7 maybe, but not so many.
Do you know the name of the store, Rex? About the
Yeah.
famous one?
The famous one, or yeah, the one with the biggest lines always is called Tandoor.
Yeah, that's where we ate.
Yeah, okay. Then you had a good one.
Yeah, it was actually very good.
Yeah, that's true.
And so until we had the rollo, everything was fine. You know, we went to the stadium, relaxed, entered the guest sector in time. We saw that Bremen also prepared for a huge choreography. And we knew that we would also have a choreography. We were all dressed in black. And Bremen asked their supporters, or this active fans asked the other fans to appear in green jerseys in the stadium. So it was like half of the stadium in green, or of course more than half of the stadium in green, and our guest sector in black. So you could very well see where we were located. I think the all in all framework for this game was excellent. You saw that both groups of supporters and fans were prepared. They were absolutely looking forward to the match, even though we were also very afraid of the game. At least this counts for me. I don't know how you guys felt about it. Were you afraid or just looking forward?
Very nervous, maybe more nervous than afraid. Afraid might not be the
Yeah.
right word, but very, very nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same goes for me as well. I mean, I'm pretty nervous before every Bremen game, especially if we're fighting for relegation. But then, of course, for the North Derby, where like the stakes are really high, I was a little extra nervous than usual.
Yeah, and in the end, I think at least it felt like this for me, that we had more to lose compared to Werder Bremen. Maybe that's not even true, you know, because if we had won, then Bremen would have been like 7 points behind us, or 6 plus the goal difference. But now it's the same points and we are back in the relegation zone.
Yeah, but I believe Bremen would have lost more, because if Bremen would have lost the game, they would only have 2 points before St. Pauli. In my opinion, also because in addition to that, it was a home game for Werder, so it was a game they must have won. I mean, they did, but I don't believe there's one Werder supporter who thought, well, it's okay to get 1 point before the game.
Yeah, well, no.
And there are a lot of HSV supporters who thought that, who said, okay, just get 1 point. And I mean, that's kind of a direction, in my opinion, that this game was more important. Well, let's say that Bremen had more to lose than we had.
I think that the loss for Bremen would have been way bigger than as it is now for Hamburg, because Bremen would have been like very, very close to the relegation zone, or at least to the playoff spot. And with the win now, we have a little bit of a gap, same as Hamburg. Of course, we have the same amount of points, but yeah, I mean, the loss would have been more devastating for Bremen than for Hamburg.
Yeah, but now you have the momentum, you know?
Mhm.
And we don't. For like a couple of games now, where we just lost. and did not win since our Wolfsburg game, and you won a couple of games in between. Anyways, how did the game start? I think, first of all, you need to mention that Jens Stay on your side, Rex, became fit in time for the game, in contrast to Luka Vuskovic, who did not. And I heard earlier this day that a large newspaper in Hamburg, Hamburger Abendblatt, knew it even before, but Merlin Polzin played kind of mind games. You know, Lennart, you remember that I told about this last episode?
Yeah.
I was telling about maybe he plays mind games. I thought it would be the other way around, you know, that he says that he won't be fit, but will be fit in the end, but it was basically the other way around. In the end, he became not fit and did not play. And of course, you saw it. When you see the first goal from Jens Stay, amazing header, of course. Earlier, had clearance from Miro Muheim, this header directly in the feet of, I think it was, what's the name of your right defender, Ragavan?
Sugawara, yes.
Sugawara, okay, I did not want to pronounce his name wrong. Directly in his feet, great cross, great header. Maybe Luka had defended it, I don't know.
At least he might have been closer for him.
I was surprised to see Stay with that much space without anyone marking him, like 5 meters away from goal. I think that wasn't great positioning from the Hamburg back four.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is something Luka would have done better. You know, he has great positioning. He knows where the cross comes. And yeah, I think it was to Nariga in the end, who was not with his opponent, with Jens Stay. But as I mentioned, it was a great header. I mean, he was basically standing in the air waiting for the ball to come.
Yeah, but 4 minutes later, we had a very good reaction after that. Of course, it was very easy attack at the beginning. I mean, it was a long ball by Capaldo from our own, own half, long ball. Glatzel, who won the duel with Koulibaly. And then, to be honest, I thought, well, is there a chance to get the ball into the middle? And is there a player who can receive a pass and then get another idea, right, Philip?
He had another idea and just scored the goal. It was a perfect shot at top left corner. And in contrast to you, I cheered instantly, not because I instantly knew that there was not a foul, but I perceived it kind of different. I directly turned around to you and was a bit wondering why you were not cheering. Because from my perspective, it really did not look like a foul.
I mean, I was cheering, but I wasn't that enthusiastic as most people around us. I mean, another friend of us was kind of similar to me, who also thought, yeah, probably was a foul. But
What do you think, Rex? Was it a foul against Koulibaly?
So initially, when I watched it live from on TV or on the phone, I was like shouting, "Ah, foul, foul, foul," because it looked very much like a foul. I mean, in my point of view, I was thinking, why would Koulibaly just go to the ground like that? But then when I looked at the replays, well, I saw that like both had their arms on each other, and there was not even a real push or pull by Glatzel. I think Koulibaly just lost his footing, like lost his balance a bit.
I think so too. Yeah.
And his positioning wasn't great either. So he thought his best bet was to fall and hope that he gets a foul. But yeah, it didn't happen, and rightfully so.
I mean, after the replay, I cannot only agree with you guys, but in the moment, I also thought, like you, Ragavan, that it was a foul, and therefore was quite surprised when the goal was given. But of course, after that, there was a second cheering. It was, let's say, this is a positive outcome of the VAR. Sometimes you can cheer twice for one goal.
Yeah, but thanks God, ref let the situation through and let it been played through until the end, you know?
Absolutely.
Sometimes he breaks the situation by just blowing the whistle. And you think, why don't you just let us play till we either score or don't score?
I mean, a few weeks I criticized it already. I believe it was a whole
I know,
game. For me, a clear foul by us during that time. But we never got the chance to, like on Saturday, to finish the scene. And maybe it wasn't a foul. I mean, we never saw a replay because it was blew off the complete scene, and therefore there was no discussion a few weeks ago.
Yes, so then it was halftime, and I don't know how you were feeling, Rex, but I think we were quite happy because in the first half it was like a level playing game, you know? Both squads acted on the same level, I would say. Both had their chances. Quite 50-50 game. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. In hindsight, that the first half was pretty even. I think no team deserved to lead the match. But of course, in the moment when you score the first goal, you're in the leads, and then you get the goal against you right after leading. Like it's like a punch in the gut, and you go to halftime with a slightly bad feeling, as opposed to you guys who would have probably gone with a better morale.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Yeah, definitely. This is a momentum we already talked before. In that moment, we thought we would have that momentum. We're more happy to get in the situation in the halftime.
Yeah, but then it was the other way around. And you questioned yourself who has the momentum and who does not. Because then I think it's sad to say that, but Bremen came better out of the locker room and just played a better second half.
I believe the first 10 minutes of the second half were that clear, and we had the first very, very good chance in the second half. The header by Mikkel Grossis, which wasn't yet a very, very bad header, but he was completely free on the second post. And if that would have been, probably Robert Glatze, we would be talking about almost clear goal. He was almost as free as Stage was. It's the first Werder goal. I mean, the header was bad, so there isn't that much discussion about the scene afterwards. But the chance was huge.
True, but very badly played in the end. The header.
The header, yeah. And then,
like you said,
Werder got the second goal just 3 or maybe 5 minutes later.
Again, amazing goal.
Great job, yeah.
But Rex, do you think it was a foul earlier to Omari?
I mean, it was not a clean tackle by whoever it was.
I believe it was Milosevic, to be honest, but not 100%.
Might have been, yeah, might have been. Then, but I don't think it was a foul because I mean there was a touch, there was contact, but not every contact is a foul, and I don't think it was a clear, like forceful kick into his calf. So obviously he didn't hit the ball; he hit the opponent, but it was a slight touch, and nothing that would justify him falling. And that is my opinion on that tackle.
I mean, I think it justifies him falling because I think he falls due to this, let's say, tackle. But I would also question if it's enough to, take the goal away in the end. And I think the ref afterwards said something like, who was it? Omari, he just stood up quickly enough. And I mean, that's something, I don't know. Did you read about it? I think that's not a good thing, to say from a ref's perspective.
Well, first of all, in the stadium, I thought it wasn't a foul. I thought it was okay. But after the replay, I would say it is a foul for me because Omari is clear the only one who plays the ball, and then Milosevic is only of course not hard. Don't get me wrong, but he's only touching Omari and not the ball in the slightest. So for me, it's a clear foul. But I didn't read what the referee said after the game. But if he really said that, it's a horrible sentence in my opinion, because you can also foul a player without making him fall. To be honest, if I pull on another player's shirt, and he doesn't need to fall down so that it is a foul. Right? I mean, just because someone isn't lying on the ground for 10 minutes and stands up directly to be in the scene. I mean, we all would have screamed at Omari if he would lie on the ground for, well, let's say 30 seconds, then the ball is 1 meter beside him. And then it would be a foul for the referee. This is a ridiculous sentence.
I think so too. That's what was disturbing me. But nevertheless, I don't want to say something wrong, and I'm not 100% sure, but I read about it.
I mean, obviously, only if he said that. I didn't read
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, from what you read afterwards, I mean, I also read an article about what Loic Favre, our co-trainer, said to the ref. And therefore, for what he saw a red card for this sentence, and he said something like, you lost control about the game just like you did in St. Pauli when he was a referee for the game St. Pauli against, I don't know, Mainz, another, not HSV involved, not Werder Bremen involved, just like a completely other game. And he lost control about this game in the end. And I don't know, I did not see this game, but that was what Loic Favre said. Like, du verlierst die Kontrolle, wie auf St. Pauli. You lost control like you did with St. Pauli. And then he instantly got this red card for it. And that was also something I could not understand. But in the end, let's go back to this situation. As I said, amazing goal. And you would have needed to stop him from shooting, like 18 meters away from the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe something Vuskovic would have helped as well, because it was directly in the center before our penalty zone. So the position normally defended by him, but let's not talk too much about the player who wasn't there with us. So after that, I believe it was very clear that we were kind of shocked. Or what do you guys think about the reaction after the 2-1?
I think after the 2-1, the game, I'd say it lost its flow. I'd say there were some substitutions, some fouls, some yellow cards, and then neither team really was playing like they would score soon. So it was just quick turnovers on both sides, and it was just not a pleasant game to watch, as you would expect from these two teams. That was until the 79th minute, I think, when there was the next big highlights of the match, which also played a huge role in the end,
Which was?
The red card against Otele.
Do you think it is really a red card? It was really a red card.
Yes, I do think it was a red card, but I don't think he did it with intent. It was by mistake. He didn't mean to step on his foot, but in the end, you see how he steps on his shin with full force, and it is a clear red card in my opinion. Even though it was not, as I said, not he didn't do it intentionally, but you always have to look at how the impact is, where the impact is, with how much force, how much speed, and when you take in all these factors, I come to the conclusion, and the referee did too, that it was a red card?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a difficult situation for me. First of all, I also can give a red card for that, because very, very similar situations this season were also given red cards like that. But this is a mistake, in my opinion, too, that the rule gives that away, because it's Otele runs with the ball. The defender tackles, and he is still in his movement. And if you go, everyone who played football before knows, if you go down, if you tackle the ball, of course you can, yeah, get hit by the opponent player. So this is not the tackle by Otele. He's in his walking movement. I call it like that now. So, but of course he has an impact on a very unfortunate point of slack. So therefore, right now, the red card can be given for that. This is not a mistake. What my problem is that I believe 6 minutes before that, in my opinion, clear red card was not given for Leonardo Bittencourt. And this is something I don't understand. The situation where he injures Muheim, where he not only pushes him, but only steps on his foot without the ball near him. Don't get me wrong. I believe the red card for Otile can be given, as the rules are now implied. But I don't understand how Bittencourt can stay on the pitch 6 minutes before.
And in the same situation, I completely agree, Lennart. He also acted very unfair and not very sportsmanlike when he, at the moment where Miro Muheim shouted out of pain, because he really had pain,
Directly beside him.
directly beside him, he just turned away to the stands and was like acting and cheering about his tackle and really pushing the fans to scream louder and to boo against Muheim. And this was something usually when you cheer in front of other team supporters. Sometimes you could even receive a yellow card for it. It's in Germany we say it's unsportsmanlike conduct, unsportliches Verhalten. And this was peak unsportsmanlike conduct, even in a derby.
Yeah, I mean, Bittencourt, he is known to be hot-headed. I mean, every time he comes on to the pitch, he leaves with a yellow card, no matter if he gets substituted in in the 50th minute or in the 90th minute. He will always leave with a red card. Not a red card, yellow card. Sorry, sometimes with a red. But yeah, he's always in discussions with his opponents, with the referee. He likes to. Yeah, he's a funny guy, but on the pitch, he's a pain in the ass the for the opposing team. Sometimes even for their own team or for their own fans. But yeah, in this case, I think the yellow card was awarded not for the foul. Even I think it was because of this
Yeah,
unsportsmanlike
absolutely.
conduct.
That's right.
But yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's not nice to see, but some players do act like that. And
But how did you saw the foul? Was this a red card for you or a yellow card? Or I mean, he didn't saw a card for foul, just like you pointed out.
I don't have the situation like exactly in mind of how he actually how the impact was, but I think if this referee had a like very very tight line, he could have given like yellow and a second yellow immediately after. In my opinion, for the foul and for the unsportsmanlike conduct, maybe. But then it would have been hard to justify it, and I think the referee was too afraid to let the game slip away because it would have slipped away if he had solved the situation like that with a yellow and a second yellow. So he just thought that he should give one yellow card, and then I think that's what was going through the referee's head in that situation.
I agree, but I think the game slipped away nevertheless. A couple of minutes later, when he had the situation with Bakary Yatta, where Yatta made I would say, very well tackle, and the ref directly and instantly put out the red card for it. that was for me the point when the game was clearly slipping away under his feet. And you saw it afterwards. Benches were like all on their feet. I think a couple of minutes later, he put out 2 or 3 other red cards to the staff. And of course, this is a derby. And like you said, Rex, players can be, emotionally, and they can and are allowed to cheer to the crowd and to make them cheering louder. And of course, that's a derby. But you can't put it to the top like this.
In my opinion, first of all, I like to disagree with you. I don't like to. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a well judged tackle, to be honest. But it was a foul. And then initially, when I saw it in real time, I thought, okay, clear red card, of course. But then, I mean, because he was coming in with like it was a high speed and it was like from behind and with a lot of force, what it looked like. But then in the replay, you could see that he was the impact was not above the ankle. It was below the ankle, or like slightly below, and maybe on the ankle a bit also. So that's why the ref did make the right decision to turn it over and give a yellow card instead. But but the yellow card it should be because it was a clear foul.
Yeah, I was gone with that as well. I mean, in the stadium, I thought if he played the ball, the way the ball moved after the tackling, I thought it was played by Yatta. But after I saw the replay, I would say that it is a foul, but the yellow card is more than okay. I mean, it is a yellow card. Maybe not because the foul was hard. I don't think the explanation from the referee was the right one afterwards. When he said it was rude tackling, I don't agree with that. But because of the tactical point of the foul, I mean, he was going into our box. So for me, it's a tactical foul, and therefore the yellow card is the right one.
Anyways, either 5 minutes before or after this foul, we conceded the third goal by, who was it, Rex? Puertas?
Puertas
But it was afterwards.
afterwards.
Afterwards. Yes. So, and then game over, and Bremen won in the end, deserved. I would say so. And even though we were, let's say an unlucky team in that game, because I think it was a 50-50 game until the break. And then the team who shot the first goal won the game. And then, unfortunate for us.
Yeah. In my opinion, Bremen deserved the win after the red card. Until then, I thought it was, like you said, 50-50 game. We can argue about the point that after the 2-1, we were not good enough in our offense. But like you already talked about, it was not a great game during those 20 minutes. Something I would argue was not the case in the first half. I think both teams want to play football. Of course, you saw that they are at the bottom of the table and are fighting against the relegation, but they wanted to play football, and it was not the, let's say, a typical relegation battle. At least not from my point of view in the first half.
Maybe to conclude the game, we discussed a lot. And of course, it's maybe the most important game of the season, at least one of the most important games. So that's okay to discuss it a lot. But let's come to an end here. But only one more thing to mention, and it's out of question that we need to mention it. What happened after the match? Rex, did you hear about it? Did you read about it? Did you maybe see it?
Yes, I saw the clips. I saw the clips on Instagram of what happened.
And what happened?
So it was some HSV fans from the away sector shooting like rockets into to the direction of the Werder fans in the Ostkurve, but they ended up like going to the ground in close to where the Bremen players were standing in order to celebrate with the home fans. And yeah, that was not a great sight.
Yeah, like you said, scenes I believe no one from us wants to see. We also had probably much more, let's say, problematic scenes a few weeks ago in Dresden against Berlin. But what happened in Bremen was totally unacceptable. Not only there, we also saw videos about a toilet was, let's say, burned down from our fans. When they put it in fire, there were also people there still inside. As far as I know, no one was hurt during that time, right, Philip?
Yeah, I don't think so.
At least that's let's say good news about that. But what happened afterwards was, it's shameful, to be honest. It's something. There are a few, we can also only call them idiots, to be honest. Who now put every football fan into a bad light if they are doing something like that, and we all, almost every one of us, wants to see a good game. We love the sport, and no one wants to see that. I mean, what can we say about that, Philip?
No more. I think there is nothing to add. It's just, like you said, unacceptable. I think we all agree that emotions definitely belong into the stadium. And also, in occasions, pyrotechniques can be used to, enhance the atmosphere. And but when you use them like this to hurt other people by intention, it's unacceptable. And also to burn down a toilet, it's insane. And no more to add. I completely agree. A very disgraceful finish of the game. Congratulations, Rex,
Thank you.
for now having the same points like we have and coming to this part of the podcast. As we don't have a question of the week and as we don't have specific news of the week, I think we could directly jump into the preview of our Hoffenheim game next week. Or, as we have a guest from another club, let's maybe extend this preview on the whole match day or even on the next and last 4 remaining match days. But first of all, just quickly, Lennart, what awaits us next week in Hamburg? Maybe also our squad situation, injury situation, just quickly, who will be back? What kind of game will be expected? I think on supporters wise, it will be like always sold out. Supporters are supposed to be there in either white or red in the colors of the city. And yeah, will be a great game from the atmosphere. But despite of that, what's our squad looking like? And other than that.
Yeah, well, we will have our last top game, let's say it like that, and the game on Saturday evening against Hoffenheim. Like you said, home game. It will be, I believe, a great atmosphere like usual. About the squad. Vuskovic will be probably still be missed, as far as we know right now. There are hopes that Lukonga will be back. As far as I know, it's not 100% sure, but at least regarding Zambi, there are realistic hopes that she will be back. Something I believe is not going right now for Luka Vuskovic. Philipp Otede will be missed or missing. Maybe this is news. He was suspended for 2 weeks, but our club was not okay with that decision. So there will be a second hearing about that. So maybe he will be back in Frankfurt, but at least he will definitely be missing the game on Saturday against Hoffenheim. So, but that's, I believe, the news about our squad. Or have I missed someone who will not be there or will be back, Philip?
Maybe Miro Muheim. We need to wait for his medical check after the match against Bremen. But other than that, I think you said everything correct. Let's hope that most of our players will return, of course, especially Luca, because you really see that we need him. And hopefully he will then, if not against Hoffenheim, will be back the last 3 games. With that being said, the next 3 to 4 games, maybe first words to our guest. Rex, what will be the next games for Werder Bremen? And which team do you think will occupy the last 3 slots in the end?
So for Werder Bremen, the next 4 games are going to be extremely tough because 3 out of the 4 opponents that are left are in the top 5 currently. So it's not going to be easy to get points against them, especially if they also fight for international competitions. So there will be very tough matches, namely Stuttgart, Hoffenheim, and Dortmund, who all are playing great seasons. And then the only team which is like further down the table is Augsburg. So I would say Augsburg is the only match where it's a must win. And then against the other 3 teams, realistically, I'd be happy with 1 or 2 points.
And the Augsburg game, is it at home?
It is at home, yes.
In my opinion, if you would be winning against Augsburg, this would be enough, I believe.
I think, and I hope so too.
I think 34 points will be enough in the end, because when you look at St. Pauli, the team which is currently on the 16th place, therefore would need to play the relegation, they still play against Mainz, Leipzig, and Wolfsburg. And
Heidenheim.
And Heidenheim, of course, next weekend. I think against Heidenheim, they might win with this. There would be 3 points. Leipzig, I think they would lose this game. Maybe they get a point against Mainz, meaning 4 points. With this, they would have then in the end, they would have 30, still less than we have at the moment. And then there would be this last game against Wolfsburg. And Wolfsburg is currently the team behind them. So it might really be enough to secure another point or maybe 2, if not 3, to really secure the league in the end.
I believe because of our goal difference, 2 might be enough. With 3 more points, I'm very, very sure that we would be staying in the league. And well, after the last weekend, the same goes for Werder right now, obviously. Well, let's see. And there are also Köln and Gladbach who have the same amount of points as we are. Next week, Gladbach plays in Wolfsburg, a huge game. For all the teams in the bottom area right now. Köln against Leverkusen, derby. They have Heidenheim at home. The last game, Köln will be playing in Munich, so they will be hoping for the same as we are in Leverkusen, that they won't be needing any more points in the last game, as I can imagine. So a very, very tough battle. But what about you guys? What are your predictions now? So 4 weeks before the end, the last 3 teams, who will be going down and who will be playing in the relegation games?
In my opinion, I think Heidenheim will be. They will end up on the bottom spots.
I think we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
So we can directly jump to the other spots.
Exactly.
I think so too.
And I think that in the end, I think Wolfsburg will still end up ahead of St. Pauli, and St. Pauli will occupy the 17th and direct a relegation spot. and I think Wolfsburg will end up in the playoffs. But especially, I think it will be decided in the last match against St. Pauli and Wolfsburg. That it will be very interesting, and also it's also kind of beneficial for both Bremen and Hamburg and the other teams around the area that they will be taking away each other's points.
I think even though we disagree a lot, Rex, you nevertheless see that we kind of follow football for the same time now, because I would have said exactly the same. I would have said also that Wolfsburg will be in front of St. Pauli in the end, especially since they won in Berlin now against Union. And they have the game against St. Pauli in the end. They are probably the better team, even though they play in Hamburg on the last match day. But in the end, there is St. Pauli, the team that really loses more in this game. And Wolfsburg really has the chance, and St. Pauli just needs 1 point. And, this is such a mind game in the end. And I think I would have said the same. I predict that Wolfsburg will be on the 16th and then wins the relegation against probably, no idea, Elversberg, who knows? Relegation that probably no one wants to see in the end. Yeah. But however, I would take all 3 clubs to occupy the last 3 slots as long as we don't end up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can also agree with you guys. After this weekend, I go with the same teams in that order. I mean, the way St. Pauli lost 2 points on Friday against Cologne, and the away win from Wolfsburg. Therefore, I go with Wolfsburg on 16th as well. And maybe there will be a game Wolfsburg against Hannover, which would be a very, very nice game, to be honest.
That would be a nice
I
game,
mean,
yes.
Hannover on the 4th place right now, just 1 point behind Elversberg. Very, very close right now. I don't know about their remaining games, which opponents they have. So I know both of them are playing against last place against Münster still, but apart from that, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, Hannover, I believe, has a very tough game in the end, or was it Paderborn against Darmstadt? I'm not sure if there's one direct duel at the last match day in the second Bundesliga as well, but let's not discuss that. We will discuss the successful team in the last episode of this season, when we know which teams will be staying or going up and down.
Exactly. And then maybe we will have a special episode about the other leagues, because also, like we mentioned earlier, our home teams, Lennart, Münster and Essen, will probably have something to either celebrate or something to be very sad about in the end of the season. So we might use one of our upcoming episodes to also discuss lower league football, which is nice to say after being back in the first division now.
Yeah, let's hope that we will be in the top division. For the upcoming years, not only the next one.
Yes. And I think, to sum it up or wrap it up in the end, Rex, you are currently part of a HSV podcast, and there is just one thing you really need to do in the end, which is to predict our game against Hoffenheim. We usually end up our episodes guessing the next result, and we would give you the possibility to predict it too. How do you think will we play against Hoffenheim?
Oh, okay. That's it. Tough ask. I guess the other guests who are probably have guests in favor of Hamburg, but I would say realistically, because also Hoffenheim has won against Dortmund this weekend, so I would say it will end up with yet another loss for Hamburg, and I guess it's gonna be a 2-0 win for Hoffenheim.
Okay. Lennart, what do you think?
Well, because Hoffenheim, I mean, they won against Dortmund, that's totally correct. But apart from that, they don't have the best second part of the season right now, and therefore I believe we have a chance I say we will win 2-1. Goal scorers, let's say Fabio Vieira and let's say Robert Glatze.
Okay. And I think also coming back to your guess, Rex, I think Dortmund cannot really serve as a benchmark this season because they play very good games, but also like games you don't want to see. And I think the game against Hoffenheim was such a game. I did not see the game against Hoffenheim, but the only thing I want to point out is that this club may not serve as a benchmark, which gives me the hope that we might at least secure 1 point against Hoffenheim. And of course, I would never guess against us and say that we will win 1-0 with a goal by Ransford Königsdörfer.
If I can add my goal scorers for Hoffenheim, I would say
No, you can't. No, go on, of course.
I would say 1 goal for Fisnik Aslani and then 1 header by Ozan Kabak. This is my guess.
Yeah, that might be actually true with Ozan Kabak. He scored also in the first game in December.
But well, as you say, I have to point out a Hoffenheim goal scorer as well right now, as you reminded me of. Therefore, I go with Kramaric.
Okay. So it was nice having you here, Rex. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and the pleasure was all mine.
I think especially after this game, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been looking forward to come on this podcast if it was a loss for us.
But would you have come?
I would have, yeah.
Okay,
I'm a
perfect.
man of my word.
Thanks for coming here. We're happy to have you here. And hopefully next time you're here, we will be winning or have won the weekend before. Thank you again, not only to you, Rex, but also to our listeners for hearing the 12th episode as well. We will be there next week, as usual, hopefully with a better result than this weekend. And well, hear you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.